for New Forest East was advising us new members on our ambitions for the future. Particularly because I want to share my ambition. I'm the first MP for Aberdeenshire North and Moray East, and I hope to be the last MP for Aberdeenshire North and Moray East. This is a coastal area which stretches from the River Spey in the west to Cruden Bay in the south. It is an area noted not only for its industry, but also for the industriousness of its people and its communities. Its long-standing economic strengths are in farming, fishing and associated sectors, including food and drink production, and in more recent times with the oil and gas industries and their supply chain. The area makes a substantial and significant contribution to the nation's energy security and food security. We are now undergoing a new industrial revolution associated with the renewables sector as the world adapts to new challenges. I believe it is our duty in this Parliament to capitalise upon the opportunities that now present themselves in the northeast of Scotland. It is also a most beautiful area, something of an undiscovered gem, with the developing tourism industry. Members will remember that the next time they enjoy a single malt, an Aberdeen Angus steak, a prawn cocktail, or maybe even a fish supper, the chances are that it came from an industry based in my constituency. But there is also significant poverty in this otherwise prosperous area, in particular child poverty. While this is most concentrated in larger towns, there is also a challenge in villages and rural areas where it is often less visible. Recent figures suggest around 5,500 children in this constituency are living in serious poverty, some of them in absolute poverty, and to be clear, that means they don't have enough money to meet basic needs for shelter, clothing and food. 5,500 in my constituency. That is something we should all remember in our position of privilege, and it is something we all need to work together to challenge. I want to pay tribute to the outgoing MP, David Duguid, who represented the previous Banff and Buchan constituency, which disappeared in the recent boundary changes. Some of you will know that David experienced sudden and significant ill health before the general election was called. I wish him a speedy recovery and a full recovery. David was an excellent MP who did his best to represent everybody in the constituency, but most notably the interests of the energy, fishing and farming industries. But his efforts were in stark contrast to the way he was treated in the end when he was effectively deselected by his colleagues. I wish David and his family well in whatever their future plans may involve. I also want to acknowledge the work of the last SNP MP in this area, Ely Whiteford, who was an outstanding political representative. Now, today in the King's speech, the government had an opportunity to immediately abolish the harmful two-child cap on child benefit and the notorious rape clause which my former colleague, the outgoing MP for Glasgow Central, Alison Thulis, worked so hard to end. The failure to do this is an early indictment of their policy position. And I was encouraged when I heard contributions from the members for Hackney South and Shoreditch and for, I think it was Hales and Hardington. However, what about the member's contribution from Islington North when he said, no ifs, no buts, just do it. It's simply not good enough for the people of Scotland, an energy-rich nation, to pay so much to heat their homes while so many of their bairns are living in absolute poverty. I will focus on this issue over the course of this Parliament. I will seek to defend the interests of our farming and fishing industries, to protect our public services, and to help realise the potential of renewable energy and carbon capture to deliver jobs and economic growth. But above all, I will be a voice for the weak and the disadvantaged. After 14 years of austerity, we need a change of direction, not more of the same. I want to make special mention of the WASPy women who have been so unfairly treated by successive governments and who deserve compensation. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I thank the people of my constituency for their support at the ballot box. And I want to thank my colleagues in the SNP and in other parties and the various House staff members here on the Westminster estate that have been so welcoming and helpful in my arrival and during my induction. Finally, and you wouldn't expect me to say anything less, I'll be working hard in this place and elsewhere to press the case for the people of Scotland to be afforded their democratic rights to determine their own future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Rebecca Long Bailey.
Thank you, Sir Edward. It's a pleasure.